Hello. Can you go ahead? Yes. Go. Are you up? Oh, there's something else I have to do. Accept. Did it go through for you? Why are you unable to join? Accept. All right. As I was about to say, like, listen, this should not be so much
Ooh,
work.
right. See,
See?
this is raggedy because I can't even see
You
you.
can't?
This is so
I
raggedy.
can.
Social media,
I know. I can see you.
I, I can see me. I just can't see you.
Because you're at the bottom of my screen and I'm at the top.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
technology is
I
techy.
know. Yeah. You
But we live.
yeah. Yeah. TikTok, I don't know. It says I have to go live for another, I guess, 120 minutes in order to do that. So
So you gotta already. So you have to be live 120 minutes, and then after that, it's like, oh, let's bring somebody on
yeah.
now. Two
Yeah.
hours into the conversation.
Yes. 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 So all right. Well, hey everyone, welcome to see the difference between TikTok and IG is on TikTok you have a captive audience.
You you don't
On
think on Instagram is that way?
Nah, never that way on Instagram.
So you think
No.
on Instagram they just staring at you?
On Instagram, you be lucky if it pushes it out to people to actually see it.
Well, what do you think is going on with Instagram?
I,
Because I feel that way about Facebook. I feel like everybody's running to
Facebook and
Instagram.
Instagram is the same people.
They, I was gonna say maybe like they cousins.
Same
They
people.
cousins. It's one like I feel like Instagram is the rich cousin, and then Facebook is the broke
Yeah.
cousin.
The same people. And it just does not seem like Instagram takes the time or the opportunity to push your stuff out to a group of people. So you could have followers, but it doesn't push it out to like new folks. You know, like how
Mm.
on on TikTok and anybody, it'll pop up on a lot of people's For You pages and so on and so forth. That doesn't happen on Instagram.
Mm.
I think Instagram and Facebook are moving more towards a pay to play type platform. So they're not trying to help you generate new leads and new followers and all of that stuff. No, they're not trying to.
So
Because
you
as
think
long as we've
they're
been
already
on here
there?
right now, and I mean, yeah, I'm on people's platform, I'm trashing them, but it is what it is. As long as we have been on here right now, if we were on TikTok, we probably would have had about 100 views already.
I see. That's the thing. I don't play on Instagram enough to get like to know that.
Hmm.
But I thought, well, let me be clear too. And most of the time, whenever I've been on Instagram, it's always like live videos. It's always that type of thing.
Really?
So I'm thinking like, oh, that's why everybody's coming back to Instagram because if TikTok is like post pictures, post pictures, post pictures,
Hmm.
and everybody can't go live, and you can instantly get on Instagram and go live. I'm like, Instagram is like the favorite cousin right now because everybody's not messing with Facebook. I mean, most of the time people can't make long content for YouTube.
Hmm.
So where else would you go? You'll go to Instagram.
I
So
guess.
that's why I thought, well, where else would you go? Because if you can't automatically go live on TikTok, so I feel like Instagram would be the
I
cute
don't think a lot of
cousin.
people are interested in going live, honestly.
So you think the live days are dead?
Um, Not that they're dead. I just don't think that most people feel like they have maybe the charisma or the enough
Okay,
talking
I can see
points
that.
and the longevity to go live over a period of time. Because if you're gonna go live, you're not gonna go live for 5 minutes.
Right,
Most of the time when you
right,
go
right,
live, you're gonna go live for at least 30 minutes to an
right.
hour. And I just don't think a lot of people may think they have enough to say or without being boring or repetitive or something to that effect to go live for a long period of time.
Well, seeing it like that, I definitely can see your
Yeah.
point of view, and I can see where you're coming
Mhm.
from. So then, let me turn around and ask you, as somebody who's like an impact
Mhm.
strategist, and you're dealing with nonprofits and businesses, top three social media sites that are like a must have. Even going into 2025, taking into account the whole TikTok ban thing, even though I know you girls like to tussle.
I
Don't fight
know.
me. I just don't think it's going to get banned as quick as we think it is. So just still knowing that about TikTok, the if and app, top three social media sites you believe every nonprofit or social entrepreneur enterprise, they like, it is a must, they need to be on. What would be your top three?
YouTube for sure,
Okay.
because YouTube is good for long term, long form content, and it's also good for archiving things and just
Yeah.
having longevity and having people see what you've been doing throughout the ages, right? So if I want to go look you up, I can go see if you have a YouTube channel and see what you have. LinkedIn, because if you're a business
Ooh,
or you are a nonprofit, you need to be in that professional setting. That's what LinkedIn is supposed to be. More for professionals, where you post more professional content and more expertise content. So
right.
LinkedIn definitely.
Okay.
And then you have the toss up between Facebook and Instagram. And for that, I would have to give it to Facebook.
Really?
Yeah, for nonprofits, definitely for Facebook. Because on Facebook
I
they
can
can
see
do
that.
the
I can see that.
birthday. Yeah, they can do the birthday fundraisers and stuff like that. So for nonprofits specifically, they need a Facebook channel, definitely. But then if you ask me to give you the top five, then after number three, I would give you Instagram and then
Okay.
TikTok.
Okay.
And TikTok is good for growing an audience quickly and growing awareness for your organization. So like right now it's giving season, right? So I'm telling all of my nonprofit clients to get on TikTok. It's good to grow quickly, get
Right.
recognition because you need visibility,
Right.
and it's hard to grow visibility on these other platforms. Like I see
Right.
people who are struggling with their YouTube platforms, and they're posting on a regular basis. Either their content is boring or their content is irrelevant. I don't know. Like, I'm just being honest. I could be one of those people too who's been posting on, on YouTube and just not connecting, right? On Facebook, it's a more older crowd and a more kind of established crowd. So they go
Yeah.
on sometimes to be nosy, but for the most part, to do something and get off. So if you're able to capture their attention in a short space of time, you're able to get some kind of engagement from them, right?
Right.
And
Right.
that's
Right.
if Facebook is going to push your content out, because that's how this whole conversation started, was me being frustrated with Instagram because I'm still seeing like one view on Instagram, right?
Right.
And if I was on TikTok, I would probably have at least 400 or 500 people in this live currently.
Mm.
Okay, it's to the point where you're even posting on Facebook and Facebook is not even showing your audience your post. How can you have 5,000 people that follow you, that like your page, your
And
profile,
get one
and maybe about
life.
7,000 people who follow you, and you post and nobody sees it?
Right. And if they do see, you get one like on the post.
Right.
That doesn't make any
There's
sense.
something
So that's why
wrong.
you're
And
already. I get you. You're
Yeah.
already at pay to play. That's why you're
Right,
already like,
exactly,
you're already
exactly.
at pay to play.
So it's disheartening for people to come on, spend the time, because doing content isn't easy. I don't, maybe some people
It
think
is a
it is.
job.
It's not
It is a
easy.
whole job.
Right. So it's disheartening when people come onto social media and they're posting, they're paying someone to help them post or whatever it is, and the engagement is in the garbage,
Right.
literally. Right. So you need to be on platforms where people are going to want to engage with you. And I just don't see, for
Instagram
the,
that way.
no, no.
I can see
I
that.
still like it. Don't get me wrong. Like some, I'm getting into Instagram Reels a lot more, like watching them, because I would just never come onto Instagram. But lately, I've been getting into Instagram Reels, and they're pretty good. But still, like my go-to for engagement would be TikTok. So I really hope it doesn't get banned.
But that's why I don't think it's going to get banned,
Hmm.
because it's too many people getting engagement, and it's too hot right now. It's still hot. It's still hot. But I think, again, I still think Instagram is getting clout of it. See, my three would be um, Instagram,
Hmm.
Thread, TikTok.
Threads, really?
Yeah,
Tell me why
yeah.
Threads. Oh my gosh,
Instagram,
I've
Threads,
tried
TikTok.
it, but yeah, tell me
So
why
let me tell you
Threads.
why. So if you're trying to like sell a product, sell consultancy
Uh-huh.
or anything, I think Instagram is the best platform.
Okay.
Just because I feel like people are going to go to Instagram to look for shops. Right now, if you think about buying a wig or going to a spa, you're not going to get on TikTok. You're going to look on Instagram for that because it
Actually,
feels
no, I
local, it
don't.
feels personal. This is just me. This
No,
is just
but for
obvious.
me, I don't. Like, I go to TikTok.
That's what I'm saying. I think a
Uh-huh.
lot of people go to
Okay.
Instagram, and then the buttons right there to be able to shop, you can
Uh-huh.
immediately get on and do it.
Okay.
Also, because of that Threads,
Uh-huh.
Instagram and Threads is connected.
Yes.
So Threads is kind of like a modern day Twitter almost,
Yeah.
but you kind of think about a LinkedIn too, because a lot of people are doing professional networking. I've
Okay.
had more people who turn around. So say for instance, your Threads, you're going to get views, interaction, because people talk on Threads.
Mm-hmm.
They immediately then turn around
Mm-hmm.
and go to your Instagram page or follow all of it together.
Oh,
So they're connected where you can immediately follow them together.
okay.
And then the reason I didn't say TikTok, because if you're getting traffic from TikTok, it's kind of like 1 to 3, 3 to 1. So I would use Threads in the middle, and then, you feel me, play off the
Right.
other two.
Right.
Then I would post my funny stuff on TikTok,
Uh-huh.
get people in, because TikTok has the Instagram button. They're going to still go on your TikTok. Even if somebody, like you said, you go on TikTok and you search for something, you would hit that YouTube button or that Instagram button.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you see their Instagram is live and they're posting their consultancy stuff right there, you see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like a conversation that never ends, but they see some like different type of content. Again, that is for somebody. For me, if
Mm-hmm.
you are building a personal brand right now, if you're an entrepreneur, solopreneur, content creator, because Threads is hot and
Okay.
people automatically go into your Instagram because it's right there. It's
Okay.
right there. So when I go to Threads, I like their stuff. I'll go to their Threads. I'll hit
Mm-hmm.
Instagram. I'll see what they post. And Instagram is nowhere to go to your TikTok. You'll just
Right.
see that they might have a TikTok, but you're just using TikTok as your foundation because it has so much engagement. It kind of
Right.
gives you that high from the bottom versus looking for the dopamine on top.
Yeah.
It's giving you the high from the bottom
Yeah.
and letting Instagram almost kind of be your
Mm-hmm.
portfolio.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would pull them, like, then my fourth one would be like
Mm-hmm.
YouTube. Then honestly, my fifth one would be a podcast.
Yes, most definitely.
My
Yes.
fifth
I
one
didn't
would
know that
be
was an
like a
option, because
podcast.
that would have been my
Yeah,
fifth one too.
it wasn't. See, they keep it for you. They tell you to
Yeah,
do
for
three.
sure.
But the only reason I did the 4 and the 5, because you were like, oh, if I had to go to 5,
Yeah,
so that's
yeah.
why I was like,
Mm-hmm.
if we were there, my 5 would be that. So YouTube, it would be again Instagram, Threads,
Mm-hmm.
TikTok, YouTube, and then
A
a
podcast.
podcast. A
Yeah.
podcast.
I love a
Because
podcast. And
I feel
you
like
own that.
if you
You
can
own
break
that.
through
That's
YouTube,
yours.
yeah, yeah.
Right?
Because I feel like if you can break through YouTube, like you said before, and go and have that long form
Mm-hmm.
content,
Mm-hmm.
then you can do it on the podcast. By the
Mm-hmm.
time you do that, you'll come right back to Instagram. You should be able to go live.
Yes.
You go periodically. post your pictures on Instagram, go to
Mhm.
Threads and pop your stuff and talk about networking and talk about this. Get on TikTok, do a dance, make it funny, and kind of have that funnel going.
Right. So when we started off, we talked about the fact that you asked me a question, and I said I don't think a lot of people have what it takes to go live. Like, of course, that
Yeah, yeah,
FOMO
yeah.
fear,
You started.
right?
You started.
What do you think, or what would you, as a brand strategist, what tips and strategies would you give someone who wants to go live but has that fear of going live? Um, they're afraid that they'll mispronounce words, forget what they're saying, like,
Yeah,
all the things that people go through psychologically when it comes to kind of like public speaking, because this is a form of public speaking.
it is.
What strategies would you give them?
One, me and you talk about it a lot. Newsjacking is the
Yeah.
easiest one. If you're already on TikTok, and most people are, like you just said, and you're
Hmm.
scrolling, newsjack.
Yeah.
Number two, never be afraid to be the professional and look like the professional.
Hmm.
You are not. We're not looking for you to be Gail. This,
Hmm.
this is this is not Good
I
Morning America.
know.
Like, let's pipe it down.
Yeah.
This is your platform. So
Hmm.
whether you find a car, a closet, find somewhere safe. And like I said, being a professional, use your resources. If you have a tablet, if you have a phone somewhere by, write your notes down
Hmm.
and tell people the story of why you're doing it. Hey
Hmm.
guys, this morning, we're going to talk about top three things that's happening in the nonprofit business. You know what? Just so I'm accurate, because I don't want to be messy. And this is where your personality come into play, which is kind of my tip 3 and 4. Let that personality shine, be the
Yes.
expert, use your resources and your notes, and tell people what you're doing. And that
Hmm.
goes into 4 and 5 storytelling. Hey guys,
Hmm.
today, we're going to be talking about the stuff in the nonprofit world, but I'm going to go through my notes to make sure I'm on. If I mispronounce anybody's name, again, 5, always make sure you're selling yourself in every situation. This is why you use your tools all together. Hey, check out the blog post later in case I mispronounce something or miss links or
Hmm.
anything along that line. And literally just read off
Yeah.
the phone and
Yeah.
tell them what's happening.
Hmm.
And be sure to add your perspective and not just your opinion and this. Come
With some
insert your
facts.
expertise. You
Yeah.
get what I'm saying?
Hmm.
What would you
Hmm.
do different? How would you make that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
How would you solve that problem? How would you do it differently? So people can see how you think,
Hmm.
people can see how you process, people can see your personality, and people
Hmm.
can see themselves working with you based upon, you know what I mean? The whole experience, because this is a whole experience.
Right.
So I think that would be my top tips. I think everybody's trying to be Gail King, you feel me, on Good Morning America, Hello America,
I know.
or or you're thinking this is, the 85 South show, so you got to entertain or
Hmm.
be Beyonce, or you got to do 55 steps. And I don't think you have to. I literally think you can
Hmm.
get up here, like I said, newsjack, be the expert, use your notes, use your resources, bring them back to a media, a blog that you wrote where you're
Hmm.
correct and you can lay it out too and give it to people, which ultimately helps you. So I think if you think about helping your audience
Hmm.
and preparing to serve them correctly,
Hmm.
I think it takes the pressure off.
Yeah.
It takes it off of yourself and it puts the energy
Hmm.
on other people.
Hmm.
And I think when you do that, you're not, again, doing
Right. And you can be more authentically yourself. But I think a lot of people think coming on as professionals with like note cards or their phone or whatever it
no.
is going to be unprofessional, make them not look like an expert.
So can I just throw this on the other end
Hmm.
as a person who works in TV and you're on set
Yeah.
and doing stuff? They
Hmm.
have they have
Cue
note
cards.
cards.
Yeah, cue cards.
They have a
A
you know what I mean? Some of
teleprompter.
them have note cards. Some of them
Yep.
have their own note cards under there. Some of them have extra prop cards.
Hmm.
Some of them have a teleprompter. Some of them have somebody in their ear feeding them information.
Hmm.
Some of them have a news director who wrote all the stuff before. In this
Hmm.
particular place, think, and as a social media going live,
Hmm.
it's just you're doing the same thing in a different form. You
Yeah.
don't have a teleprompter, but you have it on your phone, but you also have teleprompter apps.
Hmm.
So if you did decide to
Absolutely.
write your notes down,
Yeah.
you can put it in the teleprompter app, you know what I mean? So you
Yeah.
can look at it and read it that way.
Hmm.
Somebody has notes. Maybe you do have to have a friend on the phone with you in the car as a support system, or sit in the car and play music. I mean, you have to figure out what works for you, but
Yeah.
it's kind of like, how can you make a rag? You know how they say the trap house.
Yes. Yeah.
How can you
Yeah.
wherever you feel kind of like a small studio space, or it's
Mm-hmm.
intimate, where if you
Mm-hmm.
do want to feel like, you are giving that Good Morning America piece, what can you use as your notes? Or this could be your
Mm-hmm.
notes. This could be your teleprompter.
Right.
So again, using your tools and your resources, which goes back to storytelling. Use your imagination, people. Let's be 10.
Mm-hmm.
Let's be 10 and use our imaginations and figure out how to, build it differently to still get your same results.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
I think that will bless somebody this morning, somebody who's thinking about going live, probably, and not just feeling really self-conscious about
Yeah.
maybe like, their accent, their memory, whatever it is that is
But then can
holding
I
them
be
up.
honest?
Uh-huh.
The same way you hit me with, oh, everybody can't go live. I was like,
Not that everybody, and that's not how I meant it though. Not that
no,
everybody
I
can't go
know you
live. It's
did, but
just,
it was, but I think because it is 2024,
mhm.
I think you forget
Yeah.
that. I think a lot of times you forget people don't have that fear together, or they
Hmm.
haven't learned that skill, or they
Yeah.
don't have that talent. And I'm
Well,
saying that to say I think sometimes we forget that
yeah.
the stuff we're good at that comes so easy to us that we're teaching to other people,
Hmm.
we forget to focus on our community
Right,
and who we're
exactly. I
talking to.
agree. I agree. And because that's one of the things and the reason I said it is because right now it's giving season for nonprofits. And so I'm doing a lot of strategy calls and stuff like that. We're teaching them how to raise funds during this giving season,
Listen.
right? And one of the things I talk about is visibility and awareness. And I'm constantly telling them, listen, you got to go live. You got to tell the stories. I call them heartstrings to purse string stories. So we're doing a lot of storytelling stuff, and we could do a whole live on that too. Storytelling and storytelling for your brand, storytelling for your business, storytelling for your personal brand as well. But
Right.
just to say that I've been telling them, you got to go live, you got to create content. A lot of your content needs to be video type content because people really need to be able to see you and engage with you and understand you, see your facial expressions. Like I have facial expressions, okay? So
But
anyway,
like same thing for me, I be like locked in.
yeah,
So people
I
are
have
like,
facial
why are you
expressions,
so?
right?
I be like, I'm listening. I'm taking it all and listening. Locked in.
So yeah, but I get a lot of pushback
Right.
on that. A lot of pushback where people are like, I'm just not comfortable going live. What would I say? Suppose I make a mistake, whatever. And I'm just like, it's human to err, right? To
Right.
err is human. You don't have to be so overly concerned about that because
Right.
that's where paralysis happens, right? You're never gonna grow your organization unless you can get over yourself. And that is something I had to do at some point in time. I used to be very nervous about public speaking. Like I'm telling you, my stomach
And
used to
it's so
be in a
crazy to me
knot.
thinking that about you. Thinking about you and knowing how
Yeah.
we talk, and like right now we're talking like this. And I
Hmm.
think people don't realize this is literally how we talk. Even if we weren't on camera with anybody, and I'm doing,
Yeah.
only difference is we can just see each other's facial expressions, because normally we talk on the phone and
Right.
somebody's really, really quiet. And it's because the other one is like, or taking notes.
Exactly.
Because again, I'm over here like, oh my God, Tracy, and myself as we're having this whole conversation. And
Hmm.
and this is another key point, and let's just throw it on the board.
Hmm.
Let's just throw it on the whiteboard right now. This is why it is so important to talk and talk to other people in your community and do lives and do sessions, because sometimes hearing yourself
Hmm.
talk, you'll hear yourself say, oh my God,
Yeah.
it is key things that I'm not even talking about that I need to be talking to my audience, because it's a
Exactly.
part of my expertise.
Yep.
I'm sitting here thinking to you and I'm like, it's 2024. I don't have a problem going live.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, but listen to what I'm hearing someone else who's an expert, and they see something, because they have a market, they have an
Hmm.
audience, they see something
Hmm.
too. And this person is like, yo, oh my God, you can't even get to your job
Yeah.
of helping these nonprofits because you're trying to get them over the basics of being fearful of social media.
Hmm.
And it's not that you can't do it, but you have 50 billion things this direction.
Hmm.
Saying that to say and pulling it back together. This is why you have to jump in the market.
Hmm.
This is why you need to do your job,
Hmm.
because other people can't do their job successfully because you're not doing your job.
Yes.
So if somebody isn't taking the money at, the window number one, it pushes that traffic for the second person to now take the orders, take the money, and give the food.
Exactly.
and how
Right.
unfair is
Like
that?
I like to say, that just goes into what I like to say all the time. Closed mouths don't get fed. Okay. So if you're not willing to do what's necessary to
Right.
make sure that you are visible on social media,
Right.
that you're getting your message out to the right audience on a consistent basis, you will not be fed. That means that your bank account will be looking poor. Okay. So you
Because
have to
you're
get
not
over,
producing.
yeah.
You are not producing. You have to
Hmm.
think about it as a farmer. You are not producing as much as you're consuming. Or as some, everybody been watching Power. Everybody think they're game. You're sniffing your own supply so much. You're
Right.
eating all your food. Or as the
Hmm.
church talks about it, you're eating all the food, and you
Hmm.
have nothing in the pantry, nothing in the storehouse to give anybody else.
Exactly. Exactly. So that's what I really want nonprofits and social enterprises, just people in general who
Yeah.
are entrepreneurs, to get over that fear of going live, get over the
Yeah.
fear of going on to podcast. That's another thing I've been telling them. So you brought up podcasts earlier. That
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
another thing I've been telling them, to go on to other people's podcasts and let people know what's happening with them and their organization and stuff like that. Because if you don't get the word out, I can't support you. If I don't know you exist, how am I going to support you?
Right.
Right? So, yeah. But I think the
So
fear of public speaking, the fear of making a mistake is holding people hostage.
So then let me ask you, you said something, you were like jumping on people's
Hmm.
podcasting and that type of thing. How do what do you think? Because everybody talks about networking. Everybody
Correct.
says kind of the same thing. Go out,
Yeah.
meet new people, the whole nine.
Hmm.
What would be your top tips as like somebody who owns multiple businesses? You have multiple things going on,
Hmm.
and you always know somebody. Tracy, I could be talking to you, and you always know somebody, or you're always at a
Uh-huh.
conference and you'd be like, it's just going to be a basic day. I was like, okay, Tracy, what do you do? You're like, I just met a CEO.
Mhm.
I met this person who owns it. I was like, how do you find these people?
And I'm an
Like I
introvert.
only
And
just get
I'm
a
an
couple.
introvert. Okay. So,
Now let's put this together. So you're introvert, and
hmm,
my belief, and I'm extremely extroverted.
hmm.
And I talk to you all the time, and you always are meeting somebody. So I have to ask, how is an introverted person, you feel me, always meeting people? So again, tying it together,
Hmm.
top three networking tips, 2024 and going forth. So what would be your top three?
So the first thing that I would tell someone else, especially someone who's introverted, because extroverted people do not have this issue. But we like no, right? But we like to be by ourselves, into ourselves. We don't want to talk to people most of the time unless we absolutely have to.
Right.
So I had to learn that my business is an absolute have to, right? Because again, closed mouths don't get
So
fed. So I had
you
to
made your
learn.
business an extrovert.
Right. Right. So I have to be like a chameleon, right?
Yeah, right.
Me personally, I'm an introvert. Tracy, the business owner, is not. Okay, Tracy, the business owner, puts on a different hat, a different mask, whatever you want to call it. And then I have to become that person, that salesperson who's going to be selling me as a brand and the services that I provide, right? So I have
Okay.
to come outside myself. Mentally, I have to prepare myself because I can talk myself out of going to any place, okay?
Listen,
I can talk myself out of going to any place. So you could invite me somewhere as an extrovert and as an introvert, and I'd be like, yeah, sure, I'm coming. And then the day comes and I'm making 20 million excuses before I leave the house as to why I should not go. And I should just stay at home, wrap up in my chair and watch a movie.
this is
Okay. And be by myself
hilarious.
because that's really where my comfort is.
Right.
Being around people is exhausting. It is
See, I'm
exhausting. You've heard about
so
energy
different. I'm like,
vampires?
oh my God. I'm like,
Yeah, being around people is exhausting. So when I am done, going to like a networking event, I have to recharge. And to recharge, I have to be by myself. But the question was, how do I do it for my business? So like I said, I put on a different mask, a different attitude, a different mindset. It's all about your mindset, right? And to meet people, I like to tell people you need to go to your chamber of commerce. You should be a part of your chamber of commerce, right? You need to network with a purpose, right? So when I say network with a purpose, I mean that the person or people that you're networking with, you need to do reconnaissance before you go to that chamber meeting. Who do I need
listen.
to, right? Be like the army, right? who do I need to meet with, and what is my purpose for meeting with that person. But you're not meeting with the person. It sounds kind of sketchy when you say it that way, but when I say that, it's so that you can have intelligent conversation with them when you actually get into their space. You can
Great.
speak to them intelligently, and you know where you want this relationship to go, and you also know what you that person can possibly want from you as well, because relationships are mutually reciprocal, have mutual reciprocity,
Right.
right? It's not just you taking or the other person giving. It's going both ways, so you have to know that. So chambers are a good way. um Alignable is another place that I meet people.
Mm.
Volunteering for different boards is a really great way to meet very professional, very professional people who have varied expertise as well. So volunteering some of your time for certain organizations is a great way to expand your network, your sphere of network. And in that network, one of the people who you're trying very hard to find, I'm just gonna tell you, this is the plug now. The person who you're trying very hard to find is a connector. So
Yes.
especially if you yourself are introverted, you need a connector as your buddy. Okay. So that connector is somebody who is a social butterfly, right? Maybe not in their regular life, but because of their job or whatever. But this person knows everybody, right? They're around, they've been
Let's
around, they
just be
know
clear. You need a
everybody.
connector even as an extroverted. The
Right.
connector is the
Right. A
connect.
connector will
I don't care
connect
what
you,
nobody says.
right?
The middle person is not going anywhere. A
No,
connector is a connector. And I think
exactly.
most connectors, because I feel like I was there at one time,
Uh-huh.
you don't realize that you're a connector.
Hmm.
And that might have to be like a conversation too.
Yeah.
What was the name of that book, Tracy? I feel like you're going to know it right off the top of my head. It's a book about knowing which one you are. Are you the connector? Are
Oh my
you the
gosh.
salesperson?
I've read that book several, I can't remember the name right now though.
But I think you should so do that. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just writing down all of these notes and everything that you're
Hmm.
saying, and I'm like, oh my god, over and over again. I think that would be such a good conversation
Yeah.
to ask people, like, if they know which
Hmm.
one they are, and then like how to navigate and
Yeah.
use that. But that's what I just think
Hmm.
about. I'm like, even if you're extroverted or introverted, you need a connector,
Yes.
because sometimes as an extrovert, you can get lost
Yeah.
in the sauce too. You
Yeah.
need that connector to kind of meet you somewhere and be like, okay, like, did you get who you were supposed to get? Because
Hmm.
I got this and I got this,
Hmm.
as well as an introverted needs it to kind of help bring them to life. So I think a connector,
Hmm.
period, is like
Hmm.
that's the real secret sauce.
Yeah.
That is the real secret
And
sauce. So yeah, I agree with you.
and you definitely need to be in industry specific, general
Yes,
and industry specific spaces for meetups, or networking, whatever you want to call them. But you definitely need to be in both.
agree,
Hmm.
agree,
Hmm.
agree, agree.
And
I
then
love those. I love
working
those.
social media as well. So we talked about LinkedIn. Being mindful of who you add to your LinkedIn page. Add people with a purpose as well, because it is a form of networking. And just making sure that you get into their inbox and just introduce yourself. Don't try to sell them anything right up the gate. Please don't do that. That's a turn off. I will block you. So getting into their inbox, introducing yourself, starting a conversation, then meet for some type of virtual coffee if you guys are not in the same state, or if you are in the same state or the same county area, meet up in person and just
Right.
really build some
Agree.
meaningful relationships. Hmm.
Agree. And I'm gonna even throw in, because I feel like we have lost that due to COVID.
Hmm.
Yo, the virtual meetups,
Yeah,
those are
yeah.
still a thing. I
Hmm.
think that is still super cute.
Hmm.
I think that it's still cute for super cute to be like, hey, it's
Hmm.
cold today or it's raining and I still want to talk to you and meet
Yeah.
up and kind of get a vibe. Let's jump on a Zoom or let's
Hmm.
get on a live together and just have a coffee in front of each
Hmm.
other.
Hmm.
And I'm going to say this too, as an extrovert, if you have done all the stuff she said, all right, your mindset is set. You are going to a chamber of commerce in the whole nine. And then three, you have a
Hmm.
purpose. Yo, think about those. I'm going to go and use the same concepts and think about after you are on the phone with that person or talking to that person.
Hmm.
If you already know about the people you're trying to be around, why you're trying to be around them, you should then have, again, a purpose of why you're there, don't be afraid to use all of that and then retell them that, hey, I
Exactly.
wanted to reach out to you because you are great in X, Y, and Z, and you're amazing in this. And
Mhm.
I have something along this line that I want to do. And I feel like with your talent of you doing this and graduating from here and doing
Yeah.
this, we really can sit down. I have already have a pitch deck. I already have a way that I want you to do X, Y,
Hmm.
and Z. So when you do something along that line, it puts the work, you know what I mean, you're not
Hmm.
putting the work on them.
Yeah.
So I feel like somebody right now watching it be like, that sounds very masculine. It is. Think about planning a date. Well, or what was the
Right.
purpose? Why would you sit here and go out and meet a coffee and pull this person away because they have things to do, vice versa, if you didn't have a set
Hmm.
intention? Because if you don't think, just like dating, men haven't already, or people haven't looked at your social and thought about you and thought about the plans and why they want to talk to you, again, as soon as you get in that person's space or in their inbox and they're talking, do not be afraid to lay out the big picture for them. Because
Exactly.
I know for me, that has helped me so much by people
Hmm.
saying, oh my God, oh, girl, do you know how good it feels that somebody wants to work with me and they have an idea and they have a plan
Hmm.
and they already have an idea? It's less things I have to do.
Hmm.
And you literally get that person to play their part. And I
Yeah.
think that is a key part of longevity. But that chamber of commerce
Hmm.
piece, I do agree with you, Tracy. People miss out on two and just jump right to three.
Yeah.
They
And I
completely miss
mean,
out on that
their
piece.
regular chamber of commerces, their specific chamber of commerces. So you have your county. Some towns have their own chamber.
Right.
Then you have your county chamber, and then you have like the Black chamber and the Hispanic chamber and the Asian chamber. So you can be a member of several chamber of commerces. And then you have stuff like BNI, right? Which is BIN. Is it BIN, BNI, BN, whatever. Everybody knows what I'm talking
Mhm.
about, though. They're another. They're not a chamber, but they're a networking group that you can join as well. The one
Oh,
thing
and
I
I'm going to throw in
must say,
tastemakers.
the one caveat of this all is that it does cost money to network. Okay,
It does.
it's
It
gonna
does.
cost you
And I
something.
was, not to cut you off,
So
I was throwing in tastemakers too. So if you're scared of
yes,
public
yes.
speaking, if
One
you
million,
are like,
yeah, 1 million cups is another one too. Yeah, yep.
so those are great
Toastmasters.
places.
Yeah.
You don't know anybody, is it's kind of almost, I feel like it's amateur night for speakers. I really
Yes. Oh,
wholeheartedly do. I
Toastmasters.
feel like,
Yeah, yeah. It is.
yes,
It
I thought
is.
this a place. Let me ask you that while we're
Hmm.
here. Do people even talk about the Chamber of Commerce or Toastmasters anymore?
People talk about
Because
the
I haven't heard
chamber,
anybody.
not Toastmasters as much. Toastmasters, to me personally, have
It
not been doing a
died
really
out.
good job. To me, have not has not been doing a really good job at
So you're auditing brands first thing in the morning. You got to
listen.
be like, first of all,
No,
no,
because I had completely listen. Earlier this year, I did a talk in Tampa, right? And
yeah,
one of the companies that got up to introduce themselves was Toastmasters. And I was like, damn, I
where you
forgot
been?
Toastmasters even existed. They don't do a good job at branding themselves or keeping themselves relevant in the eyes of younger people. Everybody in
Yeah,
in that particular Toastmasters group were in their 60s and above. And that's kind of so I went on and I started looking at different Toastmasters throughout the country, and most of them are, late Gen Xers, baby boomers. So,
yeah,
but
and
it's
so
really
yeah,
good,
that was,
and it's kind of,
well, because
sorry, I didn't mean to cut
Tracy,
you off, but
as
it's really
as we talk, and I feel like whenever you get with good business people and you are networking, if you don't leave with their name or their number or anything, and I'm just even saying this conversation, right? So for say, for instance, you didn't get a chance because of whatever to work with me or Tracy, right? You should have still left with some ideas of things that you can go
exactly.
implement, create, or start or do after this conversation. Because Tracy,
Yeah.
as I'm talking to you, I'm like, so I'm not the only person thinking about
No,
Toastmasters,
no.
but we need a new version of Toastmasters.
But
What,
that's what I was just
as
about
you're
to say.
talking,
There are some
as,
newer versions of Toastmasters.
as you're
So,
talking, like, well, who, you know
yeah.
what I mean? That's all I'm thinking is, does it need to be created or do I need to go look it up?
Yeah. So Toastmasters was really good for doing exactly what we started off this conversation about.
Right,
People having fear of going live because they're afraid of public speaking,
right.
right? So Toastmasters was that catalyst to help you to get comfortable with telling a story, telling your story, and public speaking.
Right.
And they always talk about the but listen, if the is part of your thing, then go ahead
The
with it.
and the
Like,
like.
you don't have
The
to be
and the
that
like.
perfect. I mean, if you're going to do real big speaking engagements, maybe you might need to cut out some of the but if that's sometimes for whatever reason people need those filler words. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. So we have stuff like the Black Speakers Network,
Mm-hmm.
right? We have a bunch of speakers networks, period,
Right.
that I think are overtaking Toastmasters.
Mm. Okay.
Yeah. So if they don't do a good job at really bringing themselves back at the forefront as the experts, as the blueprint for everybody else, they're going to lose their, I don't know if they can keep going, honestly.
But if that's what you're saying, then I think that would be a great brand strategy to sit here and say, like,
We're
we're
the
the, you feel me,
blueprint.
godfather
Yeah.
of this, or X,
Hmm.
Y, and this, and then highlight other speakers, you feel me, highlight
Yeah.
other Toastmasters,
Hmm.
and what makes that one unique compared to the actual original one.
Exactly.
But I was just sitting here thinking about it, and I was like, yo, are there, because I can't even think of any. Because even after you said those, I'm like, I've heard of that, but I was like, yo, are there any other local Toastmasters? And then do they have any? So my wheels are already over here turning.
Yeah.
Go
Hmm.
on.
Yeah.
But
That's
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
That's it for me.
That's it
Yeah.
for you? No, I love it. I was, like I said, I was over here thinking about different stuff,
Uh-huh.
and just taking notes just of other conversations to talk about, and
Uh-huh.
how you're just always so interesting again when you network and talk to people, the similarities in
Yeah.
businesses where you guys overpass expertise,
Hmm.
how you can be in two different markets and
Yeah.
see things differently and
Hmm.
similarity. So these conversations with you are always like exciting, and you know what I
Yeah.
mean, it's iron. At church people say when iron sharpens iron, baby. So it's one of those good feelings.
Yeah. Yeah. So, well, this is our first day Biz Chat Daily. I just came up with that right when I had to type something in. So
Okay. That's cute though. Because we did
yeah.
go. We talked about
Yeah.
everything. We talked about media, social media, the
Mm-hmm.
trends. Where do we think people were going to stay due to
Yeah.
closings and stuff of different
Mm-hmm.
stuff, networking, presentation.
Yeah.
So we did. We covered a whole bunch of different things that are happening, and we talked about what's going on now to, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
to 2025.
Yeah.
So in like a 30, you know what I mean, 20-minute conversation, we covered a lot of topics that
Girl,
I know we can
we've been
definitely
on here
go
for
into longer.
45 minutes.
Really?
Yes,
Girl,
ma'am.
bye.
I don't
Didn't
know
even
what
know.
20 minutes you're talking about, but we've been on
See,
here
I think because I'm over here just like, oh, because I was like, oh, 8 something. We wasn't here that long.
we started at 7:30 on the dot.
Because I guess I didn't count the TikTok piece and then coming over here. So I
Yeah.
think that's what my whole
The
number
tick
was.
we
But yeah,
started
I
TikTok
love
at
this.
7:28, and then we were over here by like 7:31.
Oh, we were moving them. Didn't even
So
realize it.
yeah, we've been on here for about 45 minutes of good conversation. And
Right.
I can't wait. I think this is gonna be great. Um
Yeah.
yeah, I think this is gonna be great doing this every day, kind of just giving people like the bird's eye view of what business people go through mentally and what we think about and how we think about it. And this is how you build the brand, your own brand, and this is how you build other people's brands, right?
Listen,
And
that's true.
help them, especially during this time, especially with all the turmoil going on currently and people being very afraid of where things are going. I think this is a good tool for them to come in and kind of like just get some perspective. You know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Agree.
So I hope you guys enjoyed today with me and Londyn Nicole. Please go follow her.
Oh,
Her
okay.
name should be in the bottom someplace. So like this video, share this video, leave some comments on there. We're gonna be on here, I think, every day at 7:30.
Yep.
Yep, every morning at 7:30 a.m. We were gonna try to go between Instagram and here, like one day on Instagram, one day. So this is Instagram, one day on Instagram and one day on
Right.
TikTok. But I gotta build up my TikTok first. I gotta go live for another 120 minutes on TikTok before we could do TikTok. I'll probably have that done by Wednesday so we can start TikTok. Um, Yeah, I will. I'll have it done by Wednesday so we can start on TikTok. But we really want to make sure that we're giving people all of the information they need. I'm an impact strategist. Londyn is a brand strategist, brand architect, whatever you want to say, right? She helps
Right.
you to build your brand authentically so you feel comfortable with all of the conversation that we had today,
Yeah.
meeting new people, talking about yourself, telling your story, making sure you're putting your best face forward every day. So yeah.
And here, and then I was like, let me think of, and then if you guys don't know who Tracy is an impact strategist on top of being an author. Listen, I feel like she can find any type of money. So whether you're a nonprofit or a business and you are like, hey, I need visibility. First of all, you might need to just start off and rebuild it and kind of figure out, hey, what type of structure I have. I think she's so amazing at that. And then pulling out all the money and all the crevices. But most importantly, you guys have to check her out when it comes to fundraising. I don't care if it's a nonprofit or a business. Fundraising is the key source to driving your business. And it does help you be a better salesperson online when you're getting people to sign up. But most importantly, she does have this program coming up where she's talking about social enterprise. And I'm so captivated by it, and social entrepreneurship. And so she's talking about, hey, if you're a business owner and you want to volunteer and you have that going on, and maybe you feel like you're supposed to start another part of your business, or if you're a nonprofit and you have all of these business ideas,
Mhm.
what does that look like? What is it called? And then how do you drive both parts of this business and
Yeah.
entity out into the world? So be sure to go sign up for that and check that out. I think that I do feel like as a personal brand, that is the direction that a lot of personal brands are going. And there's tons of personal brands I can name who are
Mhm.
doing that. So be sure to go check that out. If you're struggling with the business or nonprofit side, you're not really quite sure what that looks like. So go check her out for that.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. I was just waiting to say that. Let me say my little thing. Because I
Yeah.
do. I love selling. If you didn't know, I love selling other people. I guess because I be seeing all of this stuff. And I'm like, and they have this, and they have this, and they have this. So it's always fun when you can sell somebody else, you know?
Yep. All right. Thank you. All right, everybody. Who watches this later or who's here now?
The
We'll see you
millions of
guys.
people who are going to watch it later, the thousands of you who are going to watch it later. Leave some
Yes.
comments. Matter of fact, yeah, leave us some comments. Tell
Hmm.
us what topics you want to talk about. Tell us what points kind of like bothered you or you disagree with. Because
Right.
listen, we're older. We down for a tussle. We down for a tussle. So no, but seriously, let us know parts you agreed with that you don't agree with, and
Mhm.
maybe what are you struggling? What's the biggest thing you're struggling with as a nonprofit, and the biggest thing you feel like you're struggling with in your own personal brands as an
Mhm.
entrepreneur or a CEO or an executive?
Mhm.
But talk to us nice in the comments. Talk to us nice.
Yeah.
Talk to us. Talk to us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
talk to us nice is right. But one of the things that you said that I want to piggyback on
Yeah.
just before we leave, even as a nonprofit, you still have a personal brand because your nonprofit is not your brand. So let's talk about that tomorrow. Your business is not your brand.
Can you see why? Can you
We're
see
gonna talk
why I
about that
love to
tomorrow.
talk
We're
to
gonna
certain
talk about
people?
that tomorrow.
It's 8 o'clock. What is it?
Yes.
What is it? It's
Yeah.
8:22 in the morning, and people are already up shooting. People
Yes.
are somewhere. You know the analogy. Somewhere it's noon. It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Right.
Somebody's drinking. Tracy like wakes up and she is ready to go. And
Mhm.
listen, I think we should talk about it. You are not your business. You are not your
Yep.
nonprofit. So yeah, I think that's a dope topic
Yeah.
for tomorrow.
Tomorrow. All right.
Yes.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.